Okay, but anyway, I think I'm going to start with the very short presentation about the upcoming IT and Game Job Fair. And the agenda for this webinar is that we want to give an opportunity to attendees to hear more about the companies that are joining us in Kyiv and the companies that are looking to hire talented developers from Ukraine. The sequence of the presentations will go so that first we're going to give the floor to Musician, then next games, Vario, Grip 3D, Hatch, Panzerdog, and we will take the Q&A at the end of this presentation. So a little bit about ourselves, the Games Factory Talents. We're a talent agency based here in Helsinki at the heart of the games industry, Games Factory, and we have been nominated as the best recruitment agency in games industry for 2018. We didn't win it, unfortunately, but nevertheless, Pocket Gamer noticed what we are doing. We're a small but very agile team. We're 6 people here based at the office. I'm the CEO, and we have an excellent team of 6 of us based here. What we do, we organize tech recruitment events for the Finnish game companies in Russia and Eastern Europe, and we are coming to Kyiv on the 28th of September to host our annual IT and Game Job Fair there. At the event, what the Game Job Fair is about, so it's going to take place on the 28th, and you as a candidate, you can apply by sending your resume, motivational letter, give us the consent to personal data processing, attend the Warmup webinar, which is going to be recorded, and then we organize a quick screening call with you, we check your English skills, and you get your application will be reviewed by the companies, and we will be inviting 100 people to attend the event. For the companies, what we are offering is that the companies could pre-screen the candidates, attend the webinar, what we're doing today, and at the event itself, each company is going to have a personal room to conduct pre-booked face-to-face interviews. At the event, each company is going to make a presentation, have a roll-up, so you will anyway get a chance to talk to all the companies, and on top of this, we're also bringing the virtual Helsinki tour to the event. And also, if you have more questions about the open positions, you can go to our job board and tell each of the positions that we're going to be discussing here and apply to it also through the job board. But with that being said, I would like to give the floor to the first company today, and it's going to be Musician. And the floor is yours.
Thank you, Oleg. Thanks for an introduction. So my name is Magnus. I work for Musician, and I'm more than happy to pitch you a little bit about what we do. And of course, I'm looking forward to see you everyone in Kyiv at the end of the month. So let's make it a fun, rememberable event then in Kyiv as well. But about Musician, so Musician is a Helsinki-based company that builds a music educational app. The app is basically there to help people learn and practice how to play different instruments. So currently, the Musician app is out on iOS, Android, and desktop. And we have 5 different instruments there currently. So we have guitar, piano, bass, ukulele, and then the 5th one, which is our latest release from last October, it's voice. So the voice part is actually for people who love to sing. I know that everyone loves to sing in the shower and maybe in church as well, but the vocals are there to help people actually practice their voice and eventually become a better singer. So those 5 different instruments are on the app. We also have another product that we work with, and it's called Guitar Tuner. That's basically a tuning app for your string instrument, guitar, bass, and ukulele. And it's actually a really active app. And just two and a half months ago, we hit a quite nice milestone with Guitar Tuner. We hit 100 million downloads altogether for Guitar Tuner. So we had a small celebration for a nice milestone there. The activity on Guitar Tuner is quite large. We do consider us to be the #1 tuning app with Guitar Tuner. So we have around 1.2 million daily active users for Guitar Tuna. About Musician, so I mentioned that it's a Helsinki-based company. So the main office is in Helsinki. This is where all the R&D and development happens. We're a little over 100 people in Helsinki. Most of the people are working in a kind of a technical role. We also have an office in New York. New York office is mainly focusing on the growth side of things. So we have user acquisition, growth marketing, these types of roles in New York. So altogether, 110 people. We've grown quite a lot in the last few years. So last year we hired 43 people. Currently this year we're on 23, and looking at kind of the end of the year for the new roles, I would say we're looking for 10 to 12 people more by the end of the year. Our tech stack is, so both of these apps are built with the Unity game engine. And on top of that, we use our own audio processing engine, which is basically the brains behind the both of the applications. Most of the audio related things, kind of performance critical things, are implemented with native C++. Backend is mainly Python. So Python frameworks like Flask. We use Amazon Web Services. Frontend is mainly, well, I guess we can call it modern JavaScript, but JavaScript, React, Angular. We've just actually had a bigger project where we kind of reinvented or actually polished our front-end side of things. QA side of things, so we have a large QA team. Some of them doing manual testing, but we're also focusing on the automation side of things. So how to actually generate user behavior in kind of testing purposes on the audio side. So there's quite interesting kind of QA stuff happening as well. As many of Finnish companies, for somehow the Finns, we do love robot framework on the QA side. So we do robot framework, continuous integration. We use Selenium, and yeah, we have a lot of kind of we put a lot of effort into being a company that makes decision based on data. So we have ramped up the data side of things from last year. We have 4 data engineers. We have 8 data scientists spread out in different teams. So that's kind of a quick catch up on the kind of tech side of things. Currently, we have in Helsinki, we have 2 roles open, but don't be afraid, there's more to come. So we're now looking for a Unity developer, C# Unity developer, also for a business analyst. But I think soon, and maybe already when we're in Kyiv, we should have like backend roles open as well. The culture in a way is so we try to build small and efficient teams. We try to have teams that everyone brings their kind of speciality to the team. We don't really have that middle management level of someone coming to you every morning and tell you what to do. It's more that we believe that you are the specialists, together with the team, kind of figure out who's working on what makes sense. So it comes with a certain responsibility, but of course with a certain freedom as well. And we're really used to relocating people. So the people at the Helsinki office, 60% are expats, so have relocated to Helsinki. The main language is English. And yeah, we have actually 24 different nationalities at the Helsinki office at the moment. Actually, next week we have one person starting from coming from Ukraine. So looking forward to meet him as well. Quickly, just to run through on kind of what we offer. So I mentioned the relocation. So we do have a relocation package that pretty much covers for the residence permit costs, the flights, the housing for the first month. So we would find a nice furnished apartment in the city center that you can stay for a month, and also a relocation bonus that would be paid out on your first salary. Also a stock option program. So we want everyone who joins to also get a piece of the company. So the stock option program is with a 1-year cliff and a 4-year investment period. The benefits and the kind of perks, I would say the tech companies in Helsinki have pretty similar benefits, quite good. The salaries are good in the tech companies in Finland, but looking at the kind of normal stuff that we do offer is private health care, health insurance, travel insurance, dental once a year, and then kind of the normal stuff. We also have a work retreat that we do. So when it's rainy and dark in November in Helsinki, we don't want to be here. We want to go and work from a sunny location. So we take the whole company out for a month and work remotely. So we've been previously to Bali, Greece, Thailand, last year in Curacao in the Caribbean, and this year we're going to Las Palmas in November. So we try to invite speakers from different companies as well, from companies where we see that we have something to learn from. So we'd had speakers from Uber, Netflix, Duolingo, and so on. So working remotely, but also having a lot of fun together. And yeah, I guess that's kind of from Musician. I hope to see everyone in Kyiv at the end of the month. Let's have a good event, a few beers, and a lot of fun as well. So see you everyone there. Thanks.
You can put also the video off, and we are moving on with the agenda. So we also fixed the technical problem. Sorry for that. We're using Zoom, and we have the participants, the attendees now. We lost some of them, but we have on line 25. And Michaela, please, the floor is to you.
Yeah, hello. I hope you can hear us. Hi from Next Games.
Hello.
Hi, so I'm Michaela, and I'm sitting here with Vlad.
Yep.
So I work in HR, a lot concerned with recruitment, so that's why I'm here today. And then if you want to quickly.
Yeah, sure. I'm Vlad. I'm actually Ukrainian, and I've been relocated to Next Games like a month ago. So I went through the whole process, and I'm here, to be like sort of an example of how the things can go.
Yeah, so I can tell you the HR perspective, but maybe, even better to hear from somebody who's just kind of recently gone through it. So if there's any questions in the Q&A, then might be really good to hear also like the answers directly from Vlad. So if we hop onto the next slides, I'm trying to be somewhat quick and then keep other things for the Q&A. But if we hop onto the next slide, do I have to do that? Oh, yes. Okay, awesome. Yeah, so what does Next Games do? We are a mobile games company here based in Helsinki. We make free-to-play mobile games based on big IPs. So movies, TV series, books. So that's our business model. And we don't just develop games, but we also publish games, and we also run the live operations. And if we jump ahead, we can have a quick look on the games that we have. Some really, really cool stuff. They're cool IPs. So we started out with The Walking Dead. The game you see here, No Man's Land, is an RPG, which I think was published around about 3 years ago, but still, the series is still going strong. So still a lot of new features added to the game all the time. And then the next one. Yes, so this is The Walking Dead Our World, our location-based Walking Dead game, which was launched about a year ago. Yeah, so this one is location-based. So, well, kind of Pokemon Go with zombies, if you want to describe it quickly. It's also super interesting to check out, and quite interesting, I guess, from a tech point of view as well, to work on these things.
That's true.
Then if we jump to the next one, Blade Runner, that's a game that we have in soft launch based on the Blade Runner IP. And then one more. This is the one that Vlad is working on.
Yeah, I'm working
Vlad
on this
came
one.
for really excited. We have a cooperation with Netflix to work on a Stranger Things game. Don't know if you want to say anything about that, or.
Yeah, the game is quite fun actually, and the production already started. So so we're full into writing the code and making everything happen.
Okay, and then if we go forward, yes, some unannounced products in development, something that we can't really talk about yet, but that we're also super excited about. So it could be that some of the recruitments we have open now would be for, one of those unannounced titles. All right, so this is us, where we are. So we're, similar to Musician actually, just over 100 people. We're here at the heart of Helsinki. If any of you have been to Helsinki before and have seen the White Cathedral, we're quite next to that. So very much in the center. And we also have like 20 plus nationalities, I think at the moment about 22. So yes, we're definitely also English speaking company, a lot of nationalities around. And yeah, we continue to recruit from all over the world. So one of the reasons why, we're here today. This is a quick look into our office. So we moved in here about a year ago. Everything was kind of redone for us, quite brand new. We're very happy. And one of the nice perks is that you can actually use the office also for private parties. So if you have a birthday party or anything, you can kind of rent the office for the weekend for no costs. Well, leave it clean, but otherwise, the office is yours if you want, including jacuzzi and sauna and, all the nice things, kitchen that we have here. Yes, and this is some of the list of kind of benefits. Yeah, and I mean, I don't want to repeat myself. I know Magnus also already had a list from Musician. Of course, some of the stuff is similar. But yeah, also relocation services, very important for us. And, Vlad has recently gone through that. So yes, of course, it's important for us that when we bring somebody in, we support them in the best way possible. We have a relocation agency that we work with who then, helps with the work permits, the accommodation, all the registrations, the bank accounts, all these kind of things. Also sign-on bonuses and all these kinds of things in place as well.
In my case, for example, the relocation was very, very smooth, actually. It took me I guess a month or so to settle down in Helsinki, from basically having nothing to having all the official documents, apartment, workplace, everything set up. So the relocation agency helps a lot and removes the stress from the candidate of moving to the new country. So yeah, that was very, I enjoyed the process.
Yeah, and it was actually quite good from the Ukraine if you have a biometric passport.
Yep.
That if you apply for an expert permit, you can do that from Finland, and that's what Vlad has done. So we flew him over together with his wife to do the application, and then you could start immediately on the date that was planned.
Yep.
Of course, was some kind of estimation of how the process is going to go, but we were very happily surprised that Migri, the authority made a quite quick decision. On that. Yeah, maybe one fun thing to mention there that was on the other slide is kind of quest days that we have. So we have internal game jams that we try to do around 4 times a year, where people can prototype and kind of get involved in all kinds of projects to work across disciplines and, well, do something that's beneficial for the company. But we've also have some really interesting kind of prototype games come out of that. So yeah, in terms of open positions, at the moment we have data architect, data engineer, UX designer, and financial controller open. But I think, before the fair at the end of September, we'll be adding a few more positions. We'll be again looking for game programmers. So those will be Unity developers. All of our games run on Unity. So yeah, Unity and C# skills definitely needed for that. We're looking probably for server engineer, front-end developer. But yeah, all of these to be specified in the very near future. Yeah, one thing that I haven't mentioned yet is that unfortunately we're not gonna be able to make it to the career fair in person. Very unfortunate. We would love to be there. But yes, we would really love to see people applying for our position. So we asked Game Factory that we can be here today to talk to you guys. That you have the information on the website then about our open positions, and that we would like to then contact you individually if anybody's interested in talking with us about these positions that we have.
Yeah, one thing that I could also add that, relocating from Kyiv, it was a very pleasant experience in sense of I like the city, and the Next Games actually provides very nice kind of a culture for game developers. So it's very, for me, I've been here for a month and I felt like this is kind of the place that you want to work in. So it feels very good in here. And for all of you guys who are considering different positions, Next Games is a very nice place to work for. Yep.
Yes.
Yes, thank you very much for the presentation. So we are moving forward with the agenda, and I'm actually starting next one. We have Varjo, but before we start, I would like to ask you guys that if you have questions, you can write in chat or raise your hand. So at the end of the presentation, we reserve some time for the Q&A. But yes, Petteri, the floor is yours.
Here as a talent acquisition lead, been at the company now since February, so 7 months. And yeah, so what does Warrior do? Well, currently we have 2 products. We have the VR1 device that was launched in February 2019. And VR1 is the world's only human eye resolution headset, virtual reality headset. And it comes with this world's most advanced integrated eye tracking system as well, which is also developed in-house, this algorithm. And it's also compatible with the most popular 3D software tools, and has, for instance, we have integration for Unreal Engine, Unity Engine, and lots of this kind of design software tools that are used in the automotive industry, for instance. Then other thing that we unveiled in May 2019 is a mixed reality device, which combines the human eye resolution that we have in the VR1 device and the eye tracking system, but it gives you possibility to basically combine the virtual and the reality around you by using these 2 cameras that are on front of the headset. So basically, what's the kind of unique selling point for that on top of these 2 things is the very low latency, which means that we have actually had some customers, which I'm not going to name, driving on roads, obviously test roads, still in cars like 180 kilometers an hour, the driving, and they have the headset on, and they are seeing the world through the headset, and they have this virtual layer on top of the car inside, basically. So that's the kind of level that we are at in this kind of still prototype phase, because we want to start selling this device, and it won't be ready until probably sometime later this year. That's what we're aiming for. There's actually in the next slide there is kind of comparison in between these devices. If you could show the next slide. Yeah. So here basically in VR1, you design a virtual object, XR1, you stay connected to the real world, so you can be designing something, but you can see outside that there's some person who's asking you something, and you won't be completely isolated, so that's nice. And then you can visualize the virtual object, but you can see it in the real world. So for instance, you can be designing a car, but you can see it in front of you, like on the table, for instance. You can put it into a small scale, so it can be like a small toy car, but you can see everything, all the details as they would be in real life. Also make it easy when you are showing this to your boss or design director, for instance. If you're a designer, we don't have to spend so much time prototyping, for instance, at the customer. Then you can experience a visual simulation VR1, but in XR1 you can also see your hands and controllers, so you can see the joystick, and you can have this elaborate simulation services. For instance, if you are say flying a commercial airliner, there's plenty of different switches that you can press, and you can have this really seamless virtual experience with these physical controls using the device. And yeah, as I mentioned before, you can test a new design and then integrate it into the real world, because you can see what you're doing in front of you. So in the next slide, we can see our different industry verticals basically that we're working with. So yes, industrial design. So the fact is that when we launched the virtual VR1 product, we started talking about it with some select customers. the first companies that were interested were these best car companies, because obviously for them the design is and making it faster and making cars safer is a very important aspect. Then there's training and simulation. So for airline pilots, fighter pilots, it's very important to have this possibility to read everything inside the space. And then we have architecture and engineering. So you can build, you can have a virtual model of a building that you're building and have this furniture and everything lying around, for instance, and see it very realistically. And if you have a big space, you can walk in there, or you can actually go to the physical space where you just overlay this virtual furniture if you're using the XR1 product. So that's really cool. And then there's also like entertainment side stuff. So some also big production companies are interested to create these kind of very immersive experiences using help. So, for instance, in industrial design side or car company side, they've been really trying to use VR for like 20 years now, and it's really cool to be working with them because they can really appreciate the kind of jump in quality that we've been able to make using the VR1 device. And in the last slide, we go through some basic information. So Varjo is now 3 years old. Actually, the first office that we moved into was we moved there in 2016 September, and now we moved to this brand new office in July this year in the heart of Helsinki, right next to the railway station. I unfortunately don't have any pictures of it because it's still new and sort of under renovation, but will be ready when you would get here if you're moving in from Ukraine. We have 140 employees, so we've grown by around 50 employees this year. We're looking still to hire around 20 employees this year more. We have 14 nationalities. English is the working language, and basically at this point we're still a growth company and sort of a startup phase, so we're running with this a lot with investment money. So last round of big investment that we got was Series B funding last October 2018. Naturally, next step will be the Series C funding, which is probably coming sometime soon, maybe. In terms of positions and what we are looking for, we have graphics, rendering, GPU side, people that we're looking for, computer vision, data science as well, and automated testing. We also use Robot Framework a lot, and the main stack is on C++. So pretty much everything on the software side is made on C++, but there's also some Python that we use and C on the embedded side. If you want to check what jobs we have open now, you can go to the warrior.com/jobs website and also see a bit more about the device. But I'll be there in person in the event, looking forward to it, and I'll also be bringing with me the VR1 device so you can actually see what this is about. It's really something that you cannot explain in detail. You have to experience it yourself. So looking forward to meeting you all there.
Thank you very much, Petteri. And I definitely, from my side, I can say that I experienced VR1 at the previous event, and it was definitely something amazing, something you haven't seen before. But with this being said, we are moving on with the agenda, and the next presentation is from Hedge. Sura, the floor is yours.
Hello? Yeah.
Yes, hello.
Sorry, there was a bit of an issue. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Shurat from Hatch. I just have a couple of slides. I don't want to take too long. So for everyone who doesn't know what Hatch is about, it's a streaming service for games. And you can say pretty much mobile games, which is optimized for mobile networks. That's how I can best phrase it. So what we've done is to build a ecosystem or a platform. I wouldn't say ecosystem yet, but it's a platform to bring mobile content to without having the developer to go through a deep integration process. Now, there has been multiple previous attempts to build a platform or social platform around mobile gaming through SDK. I've been part of a pretty big game engine company who tried this as well. And there has been a lot of unsuccessful attempts at this. So the way Hatch has approached this problem is with a zero API integration, where for a game developer, if you have a game, you can pretty much give us your binary and we are able to stream it from our backend to the client. Now, streaming in 2019 can mean a lot of different things. You can stream using different techniques. Now, the way we differentiate ourselves from the rest of the cloud streaming or cloud gaming or game streaming, you will hear different things. Netflix for games, a lot of people are using different terminology, is that we are not using encoding or decoding of videos. So what we stream is basically data and rendering commands. And that makes us unique in the sense that we are pretty, not bandwidth heavy. And we can perform in a mobile, on a mobile network, even when you are actually probably in a low latency scenario, like in a metro or you're in your car or in the suburbs where the network is not great. We do have a 5G first sort of a strategy where we are making partnerships with big telcos like Docomo. SKD is from Korea, South Korean Telecom, Sprint from US, and Vodafone in Europe. And these partners are our strategic partners to go to market. And they are heavily investing in marketing Hatch to their users for the 5G devices. So for a startup, that's a great thing to have exposure in newer markets with such big brand names. So far we've launched Hatch. Of course, we were in beta in about 22 countries, but for Japan, South Korea, US, and then 4 countries in Europe. So UK, Spain, Germany. What was the other one? I forgot. Vodafone is our partner. So what we are streaming is fully featured premium titles, which pretty much means that there's no IAPs at this point. If you pay a subscription to us, you get an access to about 150 games at this point. We are adding one new game to the catalog, at least one new game to the catalog every week. And what we are building right now is a lot of social features and UX around the catalog. So our first hurdle was to get to a stage where you have a giant catalog. And now we have kind of solved that problem, and we are pretty happy where we are with that. But what we are trying to build right now is, like, we have leaderboards, we have competitions, and offline multiplayer and these kind of features. But what we are trying to build is all the, like, the social graph and the social features around gaming on top of Hatch. So we are currently available on Google Play. We also have proof of concepts for various other platforms like iOS and VR and many other things which are Android based. We also have Hatch Kids application, which is currently in soft launch, which is targeting kids and families. So we've seen a high adoption rate for kids and families for catalog services where you can just get one app and get access to 50 different games inside it, pretty much full-fledged games. And we do also invest in Hatch originals and exclusives. So originals are our own production. Like our first original was Arkanoid Rising, which is a pretty big IP from Japan, from Taito. And then exclusives are basically games which do not exist in any other platform, but we are paying developers to bring their game to Hatch. It's kind of like how Netflix originals or exclusives work, but in a gaming vertical. Currently, our team is about 55, I think, and that includes sales, marketing, R&D, finance, cloud ops, DevOps, all of that. R&D, pretty much what I represent, is about half of the company, which is 26 people at this point. Yeah, we have a few more joining, and we are looking to hire more. So maybe next slide is useful at this point. Oleg?
Yes, sir. Just a moment. Yes.
Yeah, so we do have a lot of requirements in various parts. Especially we have a invest as you go kind of a strategy. But I'll mostly talk about the 3 roles that we are currently hiring for. Like my biggest pain points at this point to scale in this area. So we are Android first, so Android developers, and it's like multiple roles. If I get 5 to 6 great Android developers today, I would hire them. So I'm talking about multiple roles there. So of course, I'm not going to hire 5 to 6 developers today, because that's a very bad hiring strategy. So we are very careful in who we hire, how fast we hire, because of the bar and of course the pains of growth. But finding great developers who know the stuff, not just from Java or native perspective, but more from like end-to-end full stack perspective is important for us. So if you're an Android developer who has been into like product development, understands how to build good UX, and also great architecture on how to come up with a client which is adapted to back-end business logic, that is super useful for us, because we try to abstract away all the business logic in the backend as everyone else does, and then also give the native experience, because what we are not trying to do is build a service on top of Flutter or React Native, which is cross-platform frameworks, which kind of takes away the native experience. I've been involved in React Native before, and native is quite different. And then the other team we have is the streaming tech team, which is for that we are looking for C++, OpenGL, OpenGLES developers. Basically, if you love graphics development, you're a very good fit there. C++, 2014, 2017 features, not so much, but 2014 is something we are using. And even if you know some other graphics API like DirectX or Vulkan, and you have some understanding of the OpenGL state machine, that's really good for us. GLES is not a mandatory requirement, but GLES is, of course, what we use. And iOS at this point is launched in 2 different regions, or a bit more, maybe 3. So it's also in a kind of a soft launch at this point. And the feature set is not as full-fledged as Android. However, we are investing more on the iOS side, especially on the Hatch Kids area. So we're also looking for iOS developers, and our code base primarily is in Swift. And of course, the streaming tech is written in C++. And on the right-hand side, you can see some URLs and handles, and you can check us out on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. please do go to our website, and you can check all our benefits. We have pretty much all the benefits that everyone has spoken about. We take good care of you, make sure there's a relocation assistance and a package in place, sign-in bonus. We even do have like programs in place where you can start working from Ukraine remotely for Hatch while you pack your bags. So if you have a home to sell or whatever, it takes time. Moving countries in a pain in the ass. So I've done that 3 times, and I know. So if you want to take like a quarter to actually move, that's absolutely fine. And that's typically the case. Like you take, if you're with a family and if you have kids, you take 2 to 3 months to wrap up what you have in Ukraine and then move. So yeah, we can work very remotely. I in fact have 5 teams under me, and then one of the leads is actually based in Vienna and in Austria, and it's his choice that he wants to be there and he doesn't want to relocate to Helsinki. So we do have remote people as well. So that's also an option for us. But yeah, please do visit our website. And if you can get through some sources from Darknet, you can try to stream some games. I don't know about your UX because you probably don't have a close by data center. We have data centers all over the world, but we are not Ukraine focused at this point. So we'll most probably be streaming from our Polish or Amsterdam data center. But yeah, please have a go, and you can always send us most questions through Oleg or directly.
Thank you very much, Surat, for the presentation. And now we have the last but not least, Roman.
Hi.
Hello. Yes. Hi, Roman. The floor is yours.
Thanks. So we are PanzerDoc, a Finnish Russian company founded a bit more than 2 years ago. Currently working on our first product, which is called Tactical. On the next slide. It's a mobile game, a shooter 5 versus 5, launched this year with very intense short battles. Well, hopefully some of you already seen the game. If you haven't seen yet, just download it. Available on App Store and Google Play as well. Next. The game have using many different tactics which make it unique. There are few AAA studios working on a similar product currently, but we haven't seen any of them ready to soft launch or beta test it yet. So technically, it's hard to make a similar game. Next. Another important part are social features, which we currently focus on. We currently have clans, have voice chat, and we'll have more in the nearest updates. So far, game is doing well. On the next slide, you can see we have almost 9 million downloads and around 9 million in gross revenue. Yeah, and keep growing every month. Next. So we have many features will be available in the game, and we need more and more heads to keep this pace. Next slide. So this is what we had in the beginning of this year, and currently we're a team of 35 professionals of 6 different nationalities. So by the end of this year, we'll have around 10 more people, both for R&D and marketing departments. Next. Currently have 2 offices. Our headquarters is in Helsinki and our R&D center in Kaliningrad. So it's likely that we'll hire for our Helsinki office, and you also can start working remotely. Yes, that's all. Thanks all. If you have any questions, feel free to chat or text us on the website.
Yes, thank you very much, Roman, for the presentation. And now we have actually completed all the company presentations. So we have a few questions that we would like the panelists to ask.
Oleg, actually, we...
Sorry. Yes. I'm sorry, guys. Yes. We have one more presentation. Like, guys, sorry. Yes. Yes, Mika, the floor is yours.
Hey, thanks, Oleg. And sorry about that. It fell off the internet for just a little while. So I'm Mika from Grid, and this is Purja.
Hi.
I'm going to tell a little bit about the company, and then I'm going to tell about you guys, maybe.
Very good. So this is Grid, a technology startup from Helsinki. We are working mainly in the XR space, especially looking at the future interactions in AR and MR. And so far we have been building an application called Grip, which is the world's first 3D software for 3D modeling in augmented reality. And we build an application that for the first time is so easy to use that you don't need to have a trainer. So you can even have it for a kid that can use it for the first time without anybody teaching them how to use the application, and they can create the first 3D model after a few minutes, and it's 3D printable. So the interface is quite simple, and it's designed so that they do not need to have any fancy terms, and this almost textless interface. So we have also had the attention and interest from big companies like Dassault Systems and Apple itself, and Maker 3D, which is a 3D printing service here in Nordics, and national broadcasting company Yle in Finland, and Heureka, which is the biggest science center here. So this is something that we have been working on, and we started the operations working on this application at the beginning of the year. I can tell when we go to the next slide, so if you can stay on the previous, thank you. So we have had about 6 months so far, and we have built over 115 builds. That's in average almost 20 builds per month, almost 1 build per working day. So even though that we have been a small team, I think the development has been quite good. So we're quite happy and excited. So this is our interest, and we're very much excited about the future of AR and MR. And if you go to the next slide, so something that we are looking into is how is the future interaction? What if we could create things and contents and develop applications directly in XR? So what would be the tools and the future platforms that we need, so that we don't need to sit in front of a computer to develop something and then wear a lens or use our AR device, go and see how it's being built. So if we go to the next slide, something interesting now that we actually hear for this, that we want to make a standard platform where you can develop directly in XR. And this is something that not just for developers and coders, but also we see even designers are the developers of the future. So you do not need now to have necessarily coding skills, but the special thing here is whole new type of interaction, where it's a combination of an XR engine, a very specialized XR engine, and also an XR interface that together it enables this kind of possibility. And the XR engine itself can be used by other XR applications in the future to be used and create amazing stuff in the future. So if you go to the next slide, we call it Orem. The Orem is coming from Latin. It means thing or things, and then O is sort of, we design it so it looks like an infinity of things. So about Finland, actually next slide is a good idea. So about Finland, we are a small nation and population up here in North, but we have a long history in graphics, and per capita we have a very good number of graphic innovations and graphic companies that were born here, and so many of them were sold. Some of them are now big companies. So per capita we have the most, and that was what makes us quite strong in the ecosystem of computer graphics up here. So actually from the people who have had experience with those companies, if you go to the next slide, now we are going through a team upgrade where they're joining our company to make this engine and this future happen possible. So last summer we were about 13 people, and I think we were 11 nationalities altogether. So quite international. And now we're kind of upgrading the team where people with their experience in the graphics companies that has sold to bigger companies are now joining us. And also we're looking for world-class developers and talents to join us. That's why, again, we're here. So in our team, you can see, like we have Artyom, Casimir, and Nico that are working on the development side. So it has been a small team so far. But there is a lot of positions that are going to be available in the following months. So we're looking for a lot of talents, but quite skilled and world-class again. So we're very excited to meet you, and we're coming to Ukraine, looking forward to it. Next slide, if you can go. Yeah, so if you think that you're the world-class programmer and you're looking for a world-class opportunity, we would be happy to have a word and meet you once we're there. And please don't hesitate to contact us beforehand. I think Mika can give more details. This was just general, in a nutshell, and very quick about company.
Yeah. So like I said, we're looking for senior developers who are looking to start up and build their own, also lead teams in engine development and SDK creations using C++ and OpenGL, experience with AR, MR, XR technologies, so ARKit and AR Core, super good things. If you know Unreal or Unity, that's cool. It's not based on those things, but could be a plugin. And what else is there? Yeah, if you know also GPU hardware specifics, that's gonna help you understand and create the engine of the future as well. And then there's of course application and project developers that we will be looking at. We need to build a nice cloud platform, so cloud developers will be interesting for us as well. So
I think also part of aside from the engine developers, it's going to be native developers, so Android and iOS, and also then the UX developers, because we're dealing with a lot of these 3D and 3D content creation, at least at the moment. So I think a lot of talents that we're going to be hiring in the next few months. So
quickly about the culture. So yeah, we're super international, and we're kind of casual and laid back. So we feel that if there's a challenge that would be your ball game, then you take up on that challenge and you fix it together with the team. There's nobody handing down you tasks or missions, but we create and we solve problems together. We have an awesome office with a swimming pool, gym, and sauna all day at everybody's use at the office anytime. So if you feel like taking a relaxing swim or refreshing swim during the day, you can do that. It's not when you work or how you work, so long as results are shown. And I think happy people are going to provide those results. So let's make the environment like we like it.
Exactly. I think a few months ago, our neighbors here, they called us the coolest TED Talker from Helsinki.
Tech toddler, yeah.
So it's a cool environment.
Yeah. So that's off quickly.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. And sorry for the little hiccup, but now we actually have a few questions coming in that maybe we can do a little session, so that I have a first question that was answered about the English skills. So how good of an English do the candidate needs to speak to join your company? Like how fluent do you think it needs to be?
Who's gonna go first? So I can respond to that quickly. Is that we have experience from several people joining the company, and maybe in the beginning their English level wasn't super good and they were maybe skeptic about it themselves. But what we've recognized is that that kind of stuff you learn on the go and you fit it into the culture. So a mutual language will be figured out very fast anyway. So I'm not too worried about English level at this point. I wouldn't be if I was in your shoes either.
As far as we can understand each other clearly, it's enough.
Yeah, is there anybody else from the panelists who want to comment something on that?
I would love to comment from Hatch perspective. English remains to be our primary working language because we are a multicultural company. We have people from Russia, Ukraine, India, of course, Finns, Sweden, whatnot. So when it comes to product meetings or any kind of brainstorming meetings where we are solving a problem on the whiteboard, of course, we speak in English. But there is a couple of people who are great examples that their English is not their first language, and it's not like they struggle a bit when they're trying to explain themselves, but they're super good on Slack, for example. So their written English is good, but their spoken English is not so good. And that's pretty fine with us, especially for that team. They are always on Slack and they're discussing, and it's a completely engineering team. So my point here is that even if your spoken English is not good, which is often the case, like my written Finnish is good. When I try to speak Finnish, I struggle a lot. I've been in this country for 10.5 years now. So I totally understand that people take time to polish their spoken language. So if you can make sense even on Slack, that's a good bar for joining the tech team when it comes to.
Yeah, from Warrior perspective also, it's more about you being able to get your message across, whether that be spoken or written in English. That's the most important part. As long as we get to I think we can already notice on interviews like where you are right now, and then usually when you're embedded into this English-speaking environment, you can also use English obviously in your free time in Helsinki, because everyone speaks English around here, so you will pick up things quickly. And television programs also in English and everything, so you get this media and people talking to you in English. So I've had, for instance, hired someone from Japan who would never used English as working language, and it was very difficult at first, but after like 1 year, things really started flowing for him much easier. So don't worry about that.
Yeah, maybe to comment from next game. So I mean, maybe somewhat similar. Yeah, so English is the main language we use here. So it's important that you can make yourself understood, both written and in speaking. So of course you have to communicate with your teams, but you have to be able to document in English, and it needs to be understood by other people. But of course it doesn't have to be perfect. Like most of us, well, including the one sitting here, we're not native speakers. And we don't expect that you would come in and be perfect, but of course there needs to be a good level of communication that's possible. So I guess, yes.
That's true.
Okay, well, I think that I can comment that it seems like a position for all the companies. We have another question, actually, two related. One is related to, is it possible to complete the probation period in Ukraine?
I can start jumping in for next games. So no, our aim is to actually get somebody relocated and starting here with us. So we're hoping that somebody comes on board and integrates with the team from day one. That's how we have been doing things. So we're not too huge on remoting. Of course, people have like remote days, perhaps at home while they're here, but we don't have the setup that somebody would be completely in a different country. Yeah, so we would hope to get people here to Helsinki and on board with us. That's all from Next Games on this topic.
I think for us at Kyiv, we're looking at both options. So we're looking at many candidates that are going to be. So we're looking into hiring several roles. So whether it's remote or here, both are possible. So for us, it's open.
For Varjo, there's not possible to work permanently remotely, and that's due to hardware requirements. For instance, working with this like headset and whatnot, prototyping that, it's just not feasible at the moment. But maybe like in a few years when we are growing and we are going into different things, then it might be a possibility from us as well.
So I can go from Hat's side. For the probation period, it's very doable if you want to stay in Ukraine and evaluate Hatch and also us evaluating you. So yeah, that's definitely feasible, remoting during the probation period. But after that, we would like you to move to Helsinki or Espoo, the greater Helsinki area. We are based in Espoo, which is a neighboring city.
We have one more question. Maybe like Roman, you want to comment something?
He muted himself.
Okay, but actually one more question. So there was a question about the family support, so locations of family support, and if kids, how easy to get to kindergarten or school.
Okay. Well, I can start for Next Game. So we do support also family relocating. Blood actually relocated together with his wife.
Yeah,
that's not too private to say.
Yeah.
So we do support that. Also, if people have kids to bring along, that's also fine and something we support. And then we would have our relocation agency helping with finding your way around the daycare or school system to support with that side of thing as well. And of course, at that point, then it gets very individual. Like, what are the needs? Do you need an English-speaking school, English-speaking daycare or not? So then, of course, it'll be a quite individual discussion, but we'll be supporting that as well.
Yeah, along the same lines for Varjo as well. So we have, for instance, Oleksi come in from Ukraine as well with the wife and a child of 3 years old, and been living now here for some 5-6 months or so, and we help them out with like just finding the right place to move into, and also kindergarten, stuff like that as well. That's obviously a super important part of moving into a place so that you and everyone that you love can feel safe and supported in that environment. So it's not just about the company culture and about the how things are at the workplace, but also the work-life balance stuff.
Anyone else?
So, okay. Maybe actually, just to wrap it up, if you would describe working at your company. So I have a question for the panelists, the last one before we wrap up. So if you were to describe the company in one sentence, what would it be?
That's tricky.
I can go. So Kyiv is looking for the future computer interactions, innovations.
Maybe Yusishin can go next. So I would say music education, kick-ass rock and roll.
Well, Varjo is basically developing a new reality, so changing the way that people look at computers, screens around them, and whatnot.
For Hatch, it would be changing the way people play games in a platform agnostic manner. So we are streaming, we are platform agnostic, and you can pretty much play the games on whatever platform you choose.
Roman, you were the last one. You want to say something? Okay, well, with this being said, I want to thank all the panelists for joining and making excellent presentations. This will be recorded and distributed to the participants. And thank you very much, attendees. We are very much looking forward to seeing you in Kyiv on the 28th of September. If you haven't sent the application yet, please go to gamesjobfair.com. Check out the positions. We have all the companies listed, their positions. You can check the requirements and apply, and you'll get a call with our talent coordinator. Thank you very much, and I wish you all a great day ahead. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.